and see if it
All
sends
right.
me a notification.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yep, it
did it?
did.
All right, awesome.
Yep.
All like 15 people got a notification. um,
It's
awesome.
pretty good latency. It's only about 3 seconds behind.
Oh, that's not bad. Uh,
3 to 5, I'd say.
kind of making sure
Mm,
everything is good to go. Looking at OBS stats. So, hope everybody's having a good time. If people in chat want to give me a audio check for me, that'd be awesome. Hope you're all doing wonderful out there. Mitchell Valentino, what's up? Welcome aboard. Looking at Ubuntu 19.10 and I try to show how to install some games on here. It's a little different because I don't know if they intend to do solve the problem come beta, but right now the 32-bit thing is kind of an issue. But this is the beta I think is Thursday. It's a couple days ahead of time. I'm not gonna harp on it because the developers are working hard on it, and I know the 32-bit thing has been especially problematic for them. So I'm not holding that against them, but there are some extra steps right now. I've kind of gotten those out of the way, but I can go over them as well. So, all right, I think OBS looks fine. Hopefully the stream doesn't look too terrible. All right, so I'll go ahead and start. So installing video games pretty straightforward on Ubuntu normally. But with the 1910 and the 32-bit thing, at least currently, it can be a little bit of an issue. So I'll go and open the terminal. And one of the things you have to do to get the 32-bit stuff to work is you'd have to do sudo dpkg add architecture i386. And then once you do that, you do a apt update, and it'll pull, you can see here, it'll pull the i386 stuff as well. Now, because they're not supporting everything, they're only supporting a certain subsection of libraries. That can be an interesting thing. So Steamworks and Wine is able to be installed. So you just do the apt install Wine. I've already done it, so nothing, but it does pull down a lot of 32-bit libraries. If you don't enable i386, you will still get Wine, but you'll only get Wine 64, and that's not as useful because you want to be able to run games through Wine, and a lot of times it relies on 32-bit things. Those 32-bit libraries are included in 1910 so far once you add the i386 architecture. So if we go through, we've already installed Wine. So if we do actually, now that we've installed, we can actually use the software center. We open up Steam here. Now this is a gripe that I've had with the software center in Ubuntu for a while, is that they meld the snaps in to the listings for everything else. And I get that you want people to be able to search the snap store, but in fact there's a snap, funny enough, but there's an entire store that they've been building for just snaps. It looks exactly like GNOME software, but all it has is snaps. So this seems like a better solution right now. It's just if you separate them until you can get more confident with the amount of snaps that you have. But that's just neither here nor there. I understand it's a difficult problem. So when we search for Steam, we scroll down here. I've enabled Flatpaks. I'll explain that in a second. But you can just go here to Steam installer, click install, put in a password, and it installs. No problem. Then when you launch it, it'll launch just like any other Steam does. Should unpack the libraries and everything. Maybe. It's gonna make a mockery out of me. Is that what's happening? There we go. Okay. Yeah, it just wouldn't launch from the software center. Then you can log in and everything, and that's good. You know, you can install through apt as well. You know, you can do a sudo apt install Steam. It'll do the same thing. You'll notice Steam is an i386 package. So if you don't enable i386 repos, you won't get Steam. It'll give you a complaint about there's no candidate for Steam or something like that. That's because the 32-bit stuff's disabled. So I'm gonna go ahead and for ease of getting around, I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. So the way I prefer to install Steam is actually through a Flatpak, and I have here instructions on how to install Flatpak on Ubuntu. Now this is from FlatHub, pretty easy to get to. So you just go to flathub.org, and then you go to Quick Setup, and then here there's an Ubuntu logo. There's a logo for every distro. There are instructions for all the major distros. But here we go to Ubuntu. Now it does note that this is for 18.10 and 19.04. Obviously, anything past 18.10 is going to qualify. They just do an apt install Flatpak. If you want the graphical software store to have it, you can do the apt install GNOME software plugin at Flatpak, which I did. And then you'll want to add the repo with this command. And that's just telling Flatpak to add a remote, as it's called. And that'll take care of, you know, they'll just add the FlatHub remote repo basically to do that. Yeah, Mitchell. So enabling i386 is really simple. It's sudo dpkg -- add architecture i386, just like that. Make it a little easier to see. So just put that command in, type in your root password as needed, and then do a sudo apt update, and it'll pull in the stuff you need. So, all right. So once you get Flatpak installed through these, pretty simple stuff. Hey Alan. Yeah, I thought it would be. This is the 19.10 daily, but it was not enabled by default. So when I went to install Steam, for example, it failed out saying that there was no candidate for Steam. So I went in and realized that there was no 32-bit library. There's no 32-bit anything being loaded. So when I added that, it worked. Yeah, thanks, Alan. So now that I have Flatpak installed, you can either search through the software center or do it through the command line. I'll go ahead and do it through the command line because it's really easy. So you can do Flatpak install Steam, and it'll say, hey, we found similar, you know, packages based on Steam. So I'm going yes. Now this Daria Steam, it's Cow's Revenge, not what we're looking for. So we'll go with number 2. And it'll tell you, hey, we're going to install all this stuff. It'll probably ask you for some run times and things. So go ahead and say yes. And then it'll go ahead and download the Steam Flatpak. And then now when we go into Steam here in the applications, it loads Steam. So, and this is kind of what the canonical guys were getting at to begin with, is that the 32-bit libraries should be kind of bundled with these apps to begin with. And I completely agree with them. If the app needs the library, it should use the library. I mean, a lot of people disagree, but I get that. And some things are not really bundled well, like Lutris, for example, which I'll go over. But you know, the Flatpak here of Steam, this worked before I enabled 32-bit libraries, and it worked just fine. So I think we should kind of be moving towards this, whether it be snaps or flat packs or whatever. We should be moving toward these bundled and, you know, containerized applications, because they make delivery of software so much simpler for the end user. It's way better. So I had already installed Risk of Rain 2, so that was pretty easy and it works. I'll go ahead and launch it. Hopefully it works pretty well on while I'm streaming. So it's gonna install like probably Proton stuff and all that. Or it's just gonna, you know, straight up re-download it. That's fine too. Shouldn't take long. You guys have any questions or anything? Any comments in the chat? Yeah, thumbs up, Pope. Yeah, it's I'm really liking the performance on 1910. You know, the GNOME 3.34 is really awesome. And like the Snap store, the Snap support themes now, which I'll get to that in a second, but the Snap support themes, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, finally, right? And so we'll go ahead and wait for Risk of Rain here to finish doing its thing. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, no problem, Eric. So it's done. We'll go ahead and click play. So, Popey, one of the things that was an issue with not having the 32-bit libraries enabled by default was the NVIDIA utils and stuff. The GL library for NVIDIA for 32-bit was not installed when I installed it from the ISO using the little checkbox for installing, because I knew the NVIDIA driver was included on the disk now. I guess because the repo wasn't enabled, then it didn't pull down lib. It was like libgl or something like that. Libgl NVIDIA i386 was missing, so I can get the package in a minute, but so yeah, it was libgl-NVIDIA or something like that. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and try this. I need to enable vsync first, otherwise it'll look like garbage. See if this plays at all. Hope it looks okay on your guys' screen, because a little chuggy on mine. I think my stream settings might be a little too high for it. Yeah, this is Risk of Rain 2. I think the encoder I'm using medium for the X264 encoder might be a bit too much for my CPU. Because I'm sure the game is just jerky as all hell. So, but yeah, it does work. It is not the jerkiness is not a failing of Ubuntu's in this case. It's definitely because I wanted to go ham on the encoder. Oh, I will right now. I will add a friend. The oh, is that how they do it now? There we go. And there we go. We can be friends now. So, all right, so that's Risk of Rain 2. Works wonderfully normally. You know, again, the encoder settings I'm using are a little heavy. So the Flatpak works really well, and I'm sure the apt package works. You know, the deb package works well as well. But I just found the Flatpak to be a little easier to work with. We'll go ahead and close that. Next, I usually install Lutris, which is actually pretty easy to get going as well, as you're familiar with command line at all. So here on the Lutris page, you go to download at the top, and it'll give you these instructions for Ubuntu Elementary, Pop! OS, and Linux Mint. Pop! OS is included in the Pop Shops. It's not that big a deal. And then, but you just add the repository, which I've already done. And you don't need to do update because it automatically updates when you do the add repository. And then you just go and go to your handy dandy terminal and just sudo apt install Lutris. So it'll pull things down. Now Lutris will install without the 32-bit libraries, but it has problems with playing games without the 32-bit libraries. Yeah, it's not a slow machine, but also, you know, this version of GNOME, this version of Ubuntu is proper quick. Like it's good stuff. So all right, I got Lutris installed. So Lutris has some extra dependencies that aren't pulled down by the package. So one of those is libvulcan1, which is this is for NVIDIA. If you use AMD, like we're not friends, but we're done. But no, seriously, this is for doing for NVIDIA. You want to do libvulcan1 i386, and then it would help if I type the install, right? So, and I've already installed it, but that will pull down Vulkan for 32-bit as well. Yeah, and so once you do that, you're good on Vulkan. Then there are some dependencies that that some things need for Wine games. So they suggest installing Wine staging from WineHQ. I don't think it's that necessary. I think you can get by with just the standard Wine install. I think the Wine version in this one's like 4.0.6. So if you do sudo apt install Wine, it'll pull down a ton of stuff. A lot of 32-bit stuff, which is needed. And yeah, 4.0.2 there. And it's actually a pretty simple process once you get those two installed. And then you sudo apt install Lutris earlier, so you're all good there. Then we'll go ahead and launch Lutris. So with Lutris, most people just use it for installing Windows games. You can use it for a lot of other things. You can use it for managing your Steam library. I think you can import GOG games as well. You can do RetroArch games with it, for various emulators and consoles. There's a lot that Lutris can do. I primarily just use it to play my Windows only games on Linux, which everybody wants to. So here they have the little search box at the top here, and then we can search for a game. So I'm going to search for Diablo 3, or just search for Diablo because I think they use the III, and we'll click. So see Diablo 3 here. It's all the various Diablos. So we'll go ahead and right click, and there's an install. So click that. And DXVK is the only option, and that's rightfully so. So before we go any further, you'll notice it says here in the notes, important install these dependencies first, and it gives you a link. So this is specifically for Battle.net, for Blizzard games. So they have this whole wiki article. You can just search for Lutris Wiki or click the link. And here they have the additional dependencies required specifically for Battle.net. And for the Ubuntu section, here are the dependencies you need. Now, I found that when I did the Wine install, these were already installed. Just in case, because I think on 1804 they don't get installed properly. But just in case, make sure that these packages are installed, because it won't run. It'll fail out on you. You'll have to restart it's a pain. So just a heads up there. So if we go ahead and go back here, we can go to install. Asks you where you want to install it. I'm fine in my home folder. And so it goes out. It'll pull down the right version of Wine that it needs. It'll pull down DXVK as needed, and it'll pull down the Battle.net app that you'll be installing. The kernel is 5.3, I believe. Yeah, 5.3.10 currently, or 5.3.0-10 currently. So on Lutris, it'll go through a script and install all the things needed. Now, these little wine pop-ups, they might ask you to install like Wine Mono, Wine Gecko, things like that, and they'll just click install. They're fine. They're open source parts. So this will go out and it'll get the right font you might need for the launcher. It'll go configure the fonts, smoothing. Then it'll pop this up. Now they do note that you know, do not try to log in. The Lutris will automatically close the login. It's so it can finish the installation. So English US is me. I'll go ahead and then this is the same install that you would get on it was the same install you would get on Windows. So it is a dialogue for ants. It is a dialogue for people who have 4K monitors and Wine applications that don't scale to those 4K monitors. So that's kind of a sorry guys, but not much I can do about it kind of thing. And actually, funny enough, Steam by default doesn't come scaled properly. You have to actually go in, and I can show that while this is installing. So in Steam, there's actually a setting for setting the scaling. Let's see, is it already open? I think it's already open. Anyway, so at the end of Diablo, it'll ask you to create a desktop. I wonder if it creates a desktop shortcut. I guess it'd be on my other monitor anyway, so I can't see it right now. But the whole yeah, dude, it's real smooth. It's amazing. Like, and like opening the app drawer, whoop, whoop. It's great, man. I love it. I love it. So let's see if I open up the library, maybe. Okay, so in Steam, if you go into the settings, they have on the left here interface, and there's a checkbox for enlarge text and icons based on monitor size requires restart. That normally is not checked, so it's really like small on the 4K monitor. And then if you can, like, you know, put your face real close and hunt down that little checkbox, you can enable it, and you know, it'll scale to 4K. Now it scales to 2x, which is how my entire display is scaled. I know some people want fractional scaling, and I get that. I'm going blind in my older age, so I need the bigger text. So 2x is just fine by me. So now that we've got Diablo installed with Lutris, we can close out the search. So we went through the installer. Older age, not old. Older. So we can right click and just go to play. The script should have sets up the right wine version. It sets up the DXVK. It sets up everything for us. And so we just log in. So I'm gonna go ahead and log in with my ant-sized login here. And you know, it tries to find the game if you haven't installed, which I don't, so of course it's not going to find it. And then we can go ahead and go to Diablo and hit installed. This is just like it is on Windows. I know it's probably harder for you guys to see, but I can see it pretty good. So I'm going to let that install. While that's happening, I'll go ahead and I think one of the offending snaps that I always saw was Inkscape, because it always had a really terrible, like, 90s looking theme for the snap. Man, you guys really got to work on this search, man. It's something else. Okay, so let's see if this is from the Snap Store. So go ahead and install that. And so hopefully, and in my testing, this worked. So I'm streaming now, so it probably won't. That's just the way things go. But we'll see once it's installed. I love that there are permissions on these, like easily toggleable permissions. Good job, Snap guys. Then I go ahead and launch this. It if it launches from the software center, because you know we had problems with that earlier. There we go. So now instead of the 90s theme, we actually have the appropriate colors. Granted, the buttons are really small, but that's not their fault, you know, 4K. Kind of wondering if I can do anything about that. Toolbox icon. Larger. Yeah, make everything larger. Come on. Let's see if this works. All right. So we'll go ahead and close this out, see if it gets any bigger, because that's hard to see. It made no difference, but that's okay. That's probably Inkscape's fault. So yeah, the theme is proper. The colors are right. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I think Remina was another snap that I used that also didn't adhere to. This is from the repos, so that one of course is gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it so that I don't get it confused. Hopefully it doesn't pull half my desktop with it. Because that happens sometimes. Alright, so now I'm gonna go back. Here's the snap. I'll go ahead and install that. Shouldn't take too long on my connection. But yeah, Popey, you gotta get you a better potato, man, because enjoying some smooth animations that's where it's at, man. So go ahead and launch this. The snaps still take a few seconds to launch, but it's not really that big a deal. I could see on maybe a slower machine, people might get confused, but I don't have those, so I don't have the problem. So you see, like the theme. This is a snap, and the theme is completely like adhered to. This is all the right colors, the right, everything is appropriate, the right icons and everything, and then I dig that, man. I dig that. Also on the topic of themes, for whatever reason, when I did updates, it gave me the old Yaru theme, which is what you're seeing here. Now, if I went into tweaks, we can now see the new Yaru. So this is the Yaru Light theme, and it gives you the lighter title bars and everything. And for those of you who love the Dark as My Soul themes, Yaru Dark, and that is a really nice one. I'm probably got like a lot less light on my face now because of switching to it, but yeah, it's good. This is like a really well colored theme. I like it. We're gonna hang on to it for a little bit. So the fact that snaps now, and here I changed the theme and it still adheres to the theme. My face looks, yeah, all right, thanks. So now we're actually adhering to the theme that I just changed. So it's like, finally, right? And that was for me the biggest issue with dealing with snaps. And most of the snaps I installed were always like Electron apps or something, so it wasn't that big a deal, or they had their own widgets. But this is pretty great. I'm really glad to see this. So we'll go ahead and check on. All right, so Diablo's done. So now that it's done, we just click play. Should launch Diablo. Again, I went ham on the encoder, so this might not run as well. But Mintistry. Oh, I might check that out. This is gonna play a cinematic. I'll just go ahead and escape out of that. We'll see if see how well this plays with my punishing encoder settings. Not too great, but not too bad either, especially considering. But also not fighting anything. Oof. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any sound or not. Probably not. I don't hear any sound, which means my audio is probably not set correctly. But yeah. So this runs pretty well even with the encoder. Let me go ahead and see if I can fix that audio issue. Oh, I'm dead. Awesome. I think I might have set my audio settings wrong. Yeah. So now it should work. Yeah, I found the OBS kind of messes with my audio a little bit. Why is that, Frank's? Yeah, they are. They're a lot nicer, better laid out. I really enjoy the new sound settings. Oh, there we go. There's some sound. You guys should be hearing that. Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta play some Diablo at some point, right? We'll try this again with a little bit of sound. Hopefully it's not too loud in your ears. It probably is.
I'll bring that down.
See if I can adjust that sound a little bit. Should be a little less loud. Yeah, this is actually playing a lot better than I thought it would with the encoder settings there. But those people who don't quite understand that Linux can play games, it really can. It may not play, you know, your Fortnites and your PUBGs, but it'll play the games that matter.
I need spirit.
These guys are the most annoying because they're just like rock dudes until you break their rock and then they run away. You have to like chase them down. It's really annoying. So yeah, plays pretty well. Gotta say, even with the punishing encoder settings I have going on, that actually ran really well. I'm sure you hear my 1080 Ti fan. I know I do. So that's pretty much how we get Lutris and Battle.net installed, and there are other games as well. I would show Guild Wars 2, but somebody broke the install script, so can't do that. I'm able to get the Epic Game Store on here, which is simply just, you know, searching the Epic Game Store on here and installing it. It's really easy. It was slightly that, yeah. But Alan asking the right questions here. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I got my gaming going on Ubuntu and 19.10. You know, there were little extra steps which, you know, Popey said he'll bring up to the desktop folks. I don't know, and I know the beta is supposed to be Thursday, I think it was. So maybe this is something that they might have overlooked for the beta, or maybe they already have beta builds lined up and this isn't even a problem. But you know, I'm sure going forward it won't be an issue at all after release. You know, I'm not too harsh on it because, again, it's not even beta yet. So installing other applications, like once I had Flatpak installed, I got, you know, Lollipop here, which is like my favorite, my absolute favorite music player for GTK. It's pretty awesome. If I go into here, I'm curious, if I do the dark theme variant, does that do anything? No, it doesn't. So there may, I don't know if Flatpak has a Yaru So I think there might not be a Flatpak runtime for Yaru, for the Yaru Dark. There we go. Yeah, there is. So I may not have it installed. Let me install that. Yeah, it appears I did not have it installed. So we'll try yeah, we'll try it now. Go ahead and close Lollipop, see if it, and all is right with the world. So and it looks good. It looks good in Yaru Dark, right? Like this is pretty good. I like it. Not bad. Not bad at all. Look at that. So yeah, just make sure you pull down the right theme for your Flatpaks. It's usually org GTK3 theme, and then go from there. It's pretty straightforward. Just Flatpak install, and then you could probably actually just Flatpak install Yaru-Dark, and it'll probably find it for you. It'll say, yeah, it'll say right here, there's a runtime, sure, and go ahead and install it. So you don't even have to know the crazy org.gtk, just search for Yaru Dark. Plain and simple. And so now that's working good. I like that. And of course, Snap, there's plenty of snaps already there. What was that one game you were saying it was? Mindustry, I think it was. We'll do it was Mindustry. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and download the snap real quick. Didn't take too long. This is freshly snapped from Mr. Pope. I have no idea what I'm doing. Begin by mining copper. All right. This is... All right, so there's like a dude with me. I'm shooting something. So I'm collecting copper from these. Kind of reminds me of like a 2D Astroneer. Oh, but it's a tower defense game. Okay. Guessing. Do I have to? I don't know the controls here. Anybody knows the controls? It says you can. Oh, so this was the copper vein? No. Yeah, this is the copper. Oh, I have to do it near the base thing, right? Okay. I think I got it. Mining manually is inefficient rather. Drills can mine all. Oh, so this is kind of like a Factorio kind of thing. So click. Go ahead and there we go. Mechanical drill. Put the drill there. So this is kind of like a Factorio kind of game. So go ahead and click that. So that'll, yeah, I could see this being a fun way to pass the time. Because I really enjoyed Factorio, so probably not the easiest thing to stream because I'm still learning it and it's not it's not very exciting, but it's a really cool yeah, time sink indeed. Like this could be something that I would, yeah, this would be something that, this looks like it would play on my ThinkPad at work. Thanks, Popey. So I'll go ahead and put that. Oh yeah, that'd be even better just to play with other people. So go and quit that. I know there's a lot of different games, open source games in the Snap Store. I kind of like that. So for those of you just tuning in, one of the things I briefly mentioned earlier is there is a Snap for a Snap Store, which is basically, it's this, which is GNOME software looking, but it's just snaps. I think this, if you're looking for a snap package, you should install this, because then you don't have to worry like, oh, is this coming from the Ubuntu repos, or is this coming from the Snap Store or Flatpak? You can just get the snaps from here, and it's got a lot more categories, which is pretty great. But I'm sure they'll probably be working on this at some point, or they probably currently are. SDL pop, I'll check that out. I'll actually just search it in here. SDL pop, open source. Oh, Prince of Persia. Good times. We'll go ahead and install that. Does this utilize a controller? Because that would be the bee's knees. Does not use, okay, it doesn't use the controller. It can? Okay, well. Do I have to connect it to... Let's see here. Oh, there's a lot of fixes. Oh, Snap Connect. Okay, I'll do that real quick. When I see SDL, the first thing I think of is it's with a sudo, right? Sudo Snap Connect. All right, let's try that again. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Got him. Okay, that's crouch. Oh, I forgot how like. Oh, broken legs. Awesome. Forgot how this game feels to play. Oh, and there we go. We're done. Right, let's try this again. Maybe not break my legs this time. Oh nope, man, it's really, man, it's really like floaty. I forgot how this game played. It's been decades, like since I was a youngin'. There is a button? Okay, I'll have to figure it out then. So I found the crouch. Oh yeah, there we go. Got the pimp walk. Ah, man, he still just wants to do whatever he wants. It's so true, man. This game was not intended to be played on an Xbox controller, I'm guessing. Oh, there we go. Got him. That doesn't help me. There we go. Yes! Alright. Thanks, Popey. Thanks for joining me, man. It's a good time. Love it. Yeah, it's so gruesome. Just like it's like just this fleshy slap to the floor. Love it. But yeah, guys, Ubuntu 19.10 is shaping up pretty well. Trying to think what else I might have missed. Does anyone have any questions at all? Anything you want me to take a look at on here? Oh, they did add icons to the dock for external like drives and stuff. When you plug in a USB, there's like the icon there to open it. I also have a storage drive, right? So I have it's an internal drive, but once I mount it, it's down here in the dock, like on Unity. How long does it take me to set all this up? I installed this today at like, I think it was around 3 p.m. and I had everything going up and going in less than an hour. It was really quick. Some of the stuff that normally frustrates me, like having to, you know, not really frustrates me, but you know, I install the NVIDIA driver and I have to reboot and I have to make sure I'm like updated. So like I run the updates, reboot, install the NVIDIA driver so it builds against the right kernel and then reboot. So those little things are normally just a little extra step, but now that the NVIDIA driver, which is actually 435.21, is included on the ISO, whenever I go to install, I just click the little, hey, give me all the third-party stuff, and it'll give me a very recent driver. It'll, you know, in this case, the most recent driver. It'll give me the recent driver, it'll give me the codecs, it'll give me all that stuff. It was pretty great. Fresh boot, approximate amount of RAM, probably close to a gig. That's my guess. GNOME is not kind to memory. I mean, it's not, well, it's not bad. I mean, it's not Windows, right? Because Windows will use like half your memory right out the box, but I think it's around a gig. Fresh boot. It's not too bad, but I definitely think you want to have at least eight, but it'll run on 4. I can actually, I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff going on right now, but throw this over here. So I'm sitting at like 6.5. That's with several tabs of stuff open, including a YouTube stream thing. That's with OBS streaming. That's with, you know, Discord and Telegram and Lutris, all this stuff running. It's using 6.5, so that's not bad. I have, you know, 16 to work with, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so that's so this terminal, when I first booted up the live USB, was white with black text, which was awful to look at. But once I ran updates, it went back to the wonderful aubergine. So if you I don't know if they'll probably have it like this in the beta, but beforehand it was not pleasant. And then they do have the new wallpaper with the ermine, the Eon ermine there, which I'm all right with. They still have their tray up here, although the Steam icon doesn't really like to be light, I guess. I don't know. But they do have, you know, their tray icons are still there. Oh, Remina's still running. You know, they have their own spin on things, but this is a good system. Like, for it being, you know, a few days before beta, I've only had one thing crash, and that was GNOME Calendar, and I could probably crash that thing on command because there's a bug in there that causes it to crash. See, like that. And I have already sent the bug report. Popey, if you're watching, I've already sent the bug report. I'm sure many people already have too. I also encountered the same bug in Fedora, so it's a bug with GNOME Calendar. So kind of comes with it. Let me actually see if there's any updates for that. See if there's any updates for GNOME Calendar, cup stuff, locales, printer stuff. No, but I'll go ahead and run this anyway. And oh, I guess, yeah, some people would be interested in seeing how a printer would be installed on here. I can do that, assuming my printer is turned on. I'll let it generate these locales for everywhere that I don't live. But they're all in my language, so we're all friends here. Yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, give it a shot. It's a good system. I'm a fan of GNOME. I know some people aren't. They provide various reasons, but I think it's a pretty good desktop, and Ubuntu does a good job at customizing it to a usable point. So we'll go ahead and add a printer. Let's see if it'll search for a printer. I don't know if it'll find my printer, but because I don't know if it's on or not. There's a BRF printer. Yeah, I don't think the printer is on right now. But normally when you in GNOME, when you go to install a printer, it actually finds the driver for you, sets it all up and everything. Like, it's dead simple. Like, it's doing printing stuff is really easy in GNOME. And Ubuntu, you know, they include the stuff for HP and other printers, so it's definitely what's up. Online accounts, I got my Ubuntu single sign-on going on there. You know, Google and all that's added as well. They have specific dock stuff for, like, changing the icon size for the dock. Keep it at like 42. You can tell it which display to turn, you know, which display. You can put it on the bottom if you want. You can put it on the left or right. Definitely not that bad. There are some things they've done with this, so yeah, yeah, Fedora's GNOME is really good, but I don't think Canonical's done a terrible job with this at all. In fact, I think it's pretty darn good. Now that they've, you know, got a new theme and everything going on, it looks really good. Yeah, I do as well. We pretty much, I think we have a few CentOS boxes. The rest are ours are Ubuntu, and you know, it is kind of nice, you know, to live in a desktop for the same, you know, for the environment you're building for as well. But yeah, this is not bad. Anybody got any more questions or any comments or anything before I head out? You know, I know some people don't like these bright orange folders. I think they look fine. Alrighty. So, well, I appreciate you guys showing up for the stream. And for all those who watch afterwards, enjoy. No problem, Mitchell. And I will catch you guys later. Take it easy.